The movie begins with video footage and news reports of violent crimes, which are on the rise throughout the city.
Violent crime.
That quote, hype and hysteria are up.
Trying to get out. Oh no, he's being dragged.
We then see Governor John Meserve on his campaign trail, reporting the drastic decrease in crimes and promising the public further decreases and hope for a brighter future. Contrasting his hopeful speech is a group protesting his construction of a new pipeline, which is polluting the water supply. But John has created his own commission to review the effects of the pipeline and promises transparency. Watching the news report is Vivian Hill, assistant to Meserve, an auditor in charge of the pipeline audit.
Crime is down.
Mom, look, it's your new boss. Famous. They're talking about your project.
Later she goes to meet her husband Stan Hill, a former Special Forces soldier turned engineer who is returning from a job interview at Honda headquarters. The two continue to talk about the new job until they get to the airport's parking lot, but there they realize their car's tire has been punctured.
Oh, damn, I should go way more often. I'm just saying, it was awesome. And he said, Stan, I'll see you soon. Oh, shit. Man.
Just then a man approaches them asking for change. Stan politely refuses, but he is suddenly hit over the head by another man, before the first guy brutally stabs Vivian. He then grabs her purse before the men escape in a nearby car. A few seconds later, Stan wakes only to see Vivian dead in front of him. Later he goes by the police station to file a report and speaks with Detective Gilmore working the case. Stan does his best to give all the details of his attack, but the detectives don't seem in much of a rush to get anything done.
We're like 2 or 3. Maybe a 60s muscle car or something like that.
Well, it bleeds a lot. It gets in your eye. Mr. Hill, what was the state of your marriage?
A few days later, Vivian's funeral service is held. Stan's daughter Abby recalls how she was excited to see him. Stan is unable to stay for the service as he cannot bear to face anyone. On his way out, the priest hands him a Bible, and he reluctantly accepts. Later he sees Meserve on TV promising swift justice for Vivian's death, and he angrily tosses the Bible aside. With this, though, he notices the Bible open on a particular scripture which reads, "I am full of the wrath of the Lord, and I cannot hold it in," and this seems to resonate with him. Abby then calls checking up on him, but Stan claims he is fine and urges her to get some rest. The following day, the detectives call Stan in, as they have picked up a suspect after tracking down the car he described. They offer him a smoke, but Stan hasn't smoked in years. They call in the suspects and make them step forward one by one until one of them catches Stan's eye. It is the same thug that asked him for cash in the parking lot and the one that killed Vivian, Charlie. He swears that's the man, trying to convince the skeptical cops that he is certain. Instead of acting on the info, right away the cops tell Stan they will keep in touch. To make things worse, he sees Charlie receiving bail, and he winks at Stan with a smirk before leaving. A shocked Stan demands to know why the suspect is free, but the detectives are just focused on his yelling. They claim the suspect won't help the case, and eventually he'll get himself in more trouble. Realizing the detectives will be of no help, Stan decides to just leave. Later he meets Abby inside a diner, telling her about the situation with the suspect and the cops, and she is also angry. She offers to have Stan stay with her family, but he just wants to be alone for the night. Later he sits alone drinking and listening to Vivian's voice on their voicemail. After a while he cannot take any more and heads to the closet, recalling a life he buried a long time ago but managing to pull himself away. He goes for a drive through town looking to clear his head, but when he spots Vivian's killer standing casually along the roadway, he races back home in a fit of rage and removes a bag from his closet walls which contains weapons and passports. He then calls his Special Forces buddy Dennis, looking to find out some names and wanting to meet. He heads over to Dennis's barber shop after closing hours and heads inside, where he takes a smoke sitting on the table, puffing his first in years. Dennis then enters, and after catching up on their old army days, Dennis can see that Stan is hurting and urges him to give up his mission of revenge. But Stan wants justice and thinks it's something he has to do. Seeing his friend's determination, Dennis hands over a file with names, and inside he sees Charlie's picture. Dennis again tries convincing Stan to stop now as he is too emotionally invested, but Stan ignores him and thanks him for the names as that's all he needed. He then hits the road with the file of names, and first on his list is Nathan Milligan. He stops by a local tavern where Nathan is hanging out. A woman warns him that a man is looking for him, but Nathan thinks he's untouchable with his gun on his hip. Trying to impress the woman, he hands her an expensive purse which Stan realizes belonged to Vivian. Nathan then notices Stan looking at him and decides to mess with him, using a cue ball to smash his drink.
See that crack at the end of the bar?
But when he recognizes Stan, he takes off, letting off shots to keep Stan back. Stan chases after him outside, gun in hand. Nathan manages to ambush him, but Stan swiftly overpowers him. He thinks they took Vivian's life for nothing, but Nathan hints that there was a bigger play going on. Stan demands Charlie's location, busting Nathan over the face when he refuses. Dennis shows up warning Stan about the incoming cops, and when Nathan tries reaching for a gun, they both shoot him dead. They search his body and take his belongings before dumping his body into a trash can and setting it on fire, unaware that a man nearby has videotaped everything. The two stop to get food, and Stan is still not pleased that Dennis is following him. Dennis, however, thinks he has just been lucky so far and needs all the backup he can get. Stan reminds him he doesn't owe him anything, but Dennis is also pissed about Vivian's death and was waiting for Stan to contact him. He reassures Stan that luck will run out soon, but he won't, and Stan reluctantly accepts the help. Among Nathan's things they find a broken cell phone, which Dennis takes to run some checks on. The man that captured Nathan's death on tape tells a gang boss named Lamy and shows him the video. Lamy is mad that he did nothing to help Nathan, and for his cowardice, he orders his men to hold him while a woman severs his ring finger.
You sat there taking pictures while they capped my boy? Now you know this is gonna cost you, right?
He then demands that his men find Stan and Dennis and their families and kill everyone. Stan meets Abby inside a diner, and she notices that he is looking a lot better, and Stan explains that he met an old friend who helped him put things into perspective. She plans to pack up some of Vivian's things and get them out of the house, and Stan agrees. He then gets a coded message from Dennis and meets up with him below his barbershop where he runs a Black Ops program and shows him some weapons. Stan asks him about the cell phone, but Dennis explains he needs more time to get in. The two let off some shots downrange. Dennis warns that his quest for revenge will kick up a hornet's nest, and he either has to kill everyone or disappear, which he can help him do, but Stan doesn't plan to run. They get a ping from Nathan's cell phone and realize it's a burner cell with only one number. Stan rings the number, which belongs to a tattoo shop, and asks for the next name on the list, Lars, but the man on the line gets suspicious of his questioning and hangs up. Gilmore and his partner also meet with Lamy, revealing themselves to be corrupt and on his payroll. They have managed to keep Charlie out of jail, but Lamy now wants them to find the men responsible for Nathan's death, or he will be reaching out to the governor. Stan is getting ready to head out when he gets a call from Dennis that he will be late to the location. We then see Meserve planning to fake the pipeline review results so he can get started. He then gets a call from Gilmore demanding to talk ASAP. Stan gets to the tattoo shop alone, posing as a customer and asking for Lars, but learns he is not around. Meserve and Gilmore meet in person. Gilmore tells him about the situation with Lamy and that someone might be after his guys. Meserve doesn't think much of it until Gilmore reminds him that Lamy still has a certain video which could expose their connection. Meserve warns Gilmore to contain the situation, or his hopes of becoming captain could go down the drain. Back at the tattoo shop, Stan is talking to a tattoo artist, but when he mentions Charlie's name, the man sends a message to Lars. Dennis gets back to his barbershop to hear the alarms blaring. He then comes face to face with Charlie and two other armed men. Charlie holds a gun to him and shows him the video of him and Stan, and demands to know who the other man is. Dennis keeps his cool, and in a moment of distraction, he launches his attack, killing the two men while Charlie barely escapes. Stan is getting a tattoo done when Lars enters and decides to take over the tattoo. Stan lies that his daughter recommended him after he did a fly tattoo on her friend Charlie, but Lars claims to have no idea. Suddenly Lars pulls a gun on Stan.
Get up, asshole.
but his hesitation allows Stan to disarm him. Stan quickly overpowers him and demands to know where Charlie is, but during the struggle Lars is killed. Stan quickly takes his cell phone and hides the body before leaving with a bag full of drugs. After getting rid of the bodies, Stan shows Dennis the bag of drugs he believes will draw Charlie right to him, so they plan to set up an ambush. Stan dresses a wound he got in the fight and lays awake in bed watching videos of Vivian, unable to sleep. The next day Stan visits the nearby church, asking for a sign to tell him when to stop. The priest sits beside him, telling him that grief can either ruin a man or make him stronger, and Stan thinks he is stronger now as he has found purpose. He wonders though if Vivian died because of the things he did in his past, and if his soul is damned then he will never see her again. The priest tells him about the thief that was crucified beside Jesus, indicating that there is still hope for Stan. The priest suggests that Stan do a confession, and he accepts, revealing he has killed many men. Meanwhile, Abby and her husband get to Stan's home to collect Vivian's things, when Abby stumbles upon Charlie's photo along with Stan's gun. They are packing up to leave when Charlie and his men come driving down the street. They think Stan is inside the van and open fire, causing the van to crash. Stan pulls up right then. Abby is fine, but her husband was hit in the shoulder. Abby knows they were after Stan and confronts him about his quest for revenge, but he just wants to get them to safety. Meserve learns Stan's identity and his background in special forces, and to make things worse he has teamed up with Dennis. Meserve can't afford any more mess-ups and wants professionals brought in to get things under control. Lamy learns about the missing drugs and calls Charlie in a rage, threatening to hurt him real bad if the product isn't returned to him. At that same time, Stan begins sending taunting messages to Charlie telling him they need to meet if he wants his stash. Charlie picks the spot, so they decide to meet in 20 minutes. The meeting place is a club. Dennis gets eyes on Charlie and texts him to meet in the VIP room. Charlie enters the room and starts eyeing a man with a bag he thinks is his target. While both men eye each other suspiciously, Stan enters the club and slips past VIP security. The security tries stopping him, but this kicks off a gunfight. Stan and Dennis quickly clear the room before holding Charlie at gunpoint. Stan demands to know why Vivian had to die, letting off a shot next to Charlie, who reveals that Lamy ordered the hit because Vivian was too nosy. Hearing this, Stan kills Charlie. The two then encounter a hit squad as they try to leave, but they easily outmatch the men, killing them all before escaping the club before the cops arrive. Dennis treats a flesh wound he received in the gunfight, revealing he knows about Lamy, and he is very dangerous. He thinks Stan should call it quits now that he has killed Vivian's killer, but Stan wants everyone involved. While Abby is hurriedly packing up her kids to leave their home, Stan starts going through Vivian's work on the pipeline. He realizes that all her research indicates that the pipeline is contaminating the surrounding water supply despite what the governor publicly stated. On her cell phone, he hears a voicemail from the governor's assistant Glenn telling Vivian to work with the revised numbers for the pipeline review and begins to put the pieces together. Abby and the kids are about to leave when Lamy and his men barge in, demanding that she call Stan immediately. Abby goes to get her cell phone and seeing a chance she stabs one of the men, but this causes Lamy to shoot her daughter. Lamy demands that she get Stan to the house. Stan gets a text message from Abby, but this sets off alarms as she never texts, and he calls Dennis for backup. Stan gets to the house and breaks in through the basement. He kills the injured man, but Lamy, holding a gun to Abby, forces him to lower his gun. Lamy begins to gloat, but Dennis manages to hit him with a sniper rifle. Lamy's man outside opens fire on Dennis, but Dennis manages to recover and kill him. Stan brutally beats Lamy down before demanding to know if Meserve was behind the hit on Vivian, but before Lamy can respond he is killed. The shooter is Gilmore, telling Stan they can put everything behind them or do things the hard way, but Stan chooses the hard way. Gilmore calls in his partner, but Dennis appears and knocks him out, forcing Gilmore to choose the easy way. Stan handcuffs him to his car steering wheel with his partner in the trunk. Gilmore warns that things will not end well for him, but Stan has nothing left to lose after they attacked his family. Gilmore then reveals that Charlie is actually Meserve's son, and Lamy has a video of Charlie's jailbait girlfriend overdosing on drugs, which he uses as leverage against Meserve. Meserve also uses Lamy for his dirty work, like killing Vivian, though Gilmore swears he and his partner had nothing to do with it. Stan as Gilmore drive to Meserve's residence and gains access to the heavily guarded compound. Gilmore offers to talk to Meserve for Stan, but Stan knocks him out. He wakes soon later still handcuffed to the wheel and his partner yelling in the trunk. In front of him the sight of all the guards dead leaves him speechless. Stan has also rigged his car to blow, and his partner barely escapes the trunk before the explosion goes off. Stan shoots his way into Meserve's home, but while fighting the guards, Meserve hits him with a shotgun blast. Stan quickly fights back, and a struggle begins over the gun. Meserve gets the upper hand, holding Stan at gunpoint. Stan reveals he knows Meserve had Vivian killed to cover up the report, but Meserve thinks her death was for the greater good. He demands to know who else has the report, and Stan tells him everyone. Meserve angrily draws closer to Stan, calling him a bottom feeder, but Stan grabs the gun and stabs Meserve in the chest with a blade. Meserve wonders who he really is, and Stan replies, "I am Wrath." Soon cops come pouring into the compound, and Stan walks out to face them with guns aimed directly at him. The cops order him to surrender, but Stan, seemingly ready to meet his end, raises the shotgun, forcing the cops to open fire. Turns out he was wearing a vest. 3 days later, Stan is recovering inside a hospital. Abby is unable to talk to him as their lawyer reveals that due to Stan's background, the case has been labeled a matter of national security and a gag order has been issued. Stan will be transferred to a federal prison hospital and will face a private court hearing. Abby cannot accept not seeing her father again and runs into his room. A security guard pulls her off and she and the family leave. Later, the change of guard comes for Stan's room, and among them is Gilmore's partner who has come to finish the job. He enters Stan's room with his pistol ready, telling Stan he has come to settle the score for Gilmore. He thinks Stan must be shocked, but Stan is actually thinking of Abby and the gun she snuck to him when she ran into his room. Stan then quickly shoots him dead, and it turns out Dennis was there as backup all along. Dennis quickly hides the body, then pushes Stan out in a wheelchair with plans to leave the country. A few weeks later, Abby receives a postcard from Sao Paulo. It is Stan, reminding her that he will always love her and plans to see her again soon. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe for more recaps just like this. And hey, don't click away just yet. YouTube thinks you'll love one of these 2 videos popping up right here, so check them out next.